What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another MX Bikes video. It's your boy Leroy here today. Got a little different video for you guys today. It's not going to be any riding or anything. We're going to go over the settings on this game today. Kind of explain the settings to you guys, show you guys what I got for settings. And yeah, kind of hook you guys up, try to help y'all out a little bit. The settings do play a huge factor in this game, a lot more than bike setups do. So it's kind of find a good setup you like on the controls, learn those, and then you'll start progressing. So we'll go ahead and start off here. I got my rider lean on my left stick. I use an Xbox 360 controller to play, so for comparison here. Left stick is going to be my lean. That's going to be on my left and my right. Throttle is going to be my right trigger. Brake is going to be my left trigger, and rear brake is going to be A. But I also run combined brakes, so mostly you're going to be using that left trigger brake. The rear brake was only, I was playing around one day, trying to slide the back end around curves and stuff like that. I just put the back brake on so I can mess around with that. Clutch is on Y. Got my rider front back lean. It's going to be on my right stick, and it's going to be the Y axis, so forward and back. Then my rider left right lean is going to be on my right stick as well. And it's going to be left right on that stick. Rider lean tracking. That's just going to be, I just leave that disabled. So I think that's just going to be like kind of more of a head bob that your dude's going to move around. The camera will move whenever you lean. Direct lean is how quickly your bike is going to come back center after you let go of the stick from a turn. So say if I'm fully turned to the left, when I let go of the stick, this is going to be the speed at which the bike's going to come back upright. I run combined brakes. So my front and back brake are just one press of the trigger. You can see here, this would be the front brake and this would be the back brake. I run at 32-20, so I don't really grab a whole lot of the front brake before the back brake comes on, so I can kind of keep my brakes a little even here. I know some people like to max this all the way out. The problem is there, you get a whole lot of front brake before you get any back brake, so if you're heavy on your brake going into a turn, chances are you're going to lose that front end there. I run mine about 32, that way I get the front brake, but then my back brake comes on pretty quick, and it's pretty smooth. They kind of catch up together, so I'm not just locking up one brake and not the other. Come over here to the advanced side here. These do a bunch of drop downs, so we'll start lean first. Dead zone here. Kind of had to move that around, so if I had this on 0 real quick to show you guys. It's got a little input there. I'm not touching the stick right now. It's got a little input, so kind of just want to turn that up to your dead zone. You don't see anything there, so just turn that up a little bit. I think I'll leave mine about 15. Yeah, it looks good there. Linearity, that's going to be your input right here. It's how quickly this down here is going to move whenever you're turning. So the closer or under 100, you're going to have more input on the first half of this input down here. Anything over 100, you're going to have more input towards the last half back here. So as you can see, if I'm pushing this, I'll try to do like one push at the same. See how it gets about right here, and it just jumps pretty quickly there. It's just that I have more precision here in the first half than I do in that last half, and it'll jump at the last half. Also run it smooth, so it kind of smooths out all my presses for me and my releases, so I don't have to be as smooth on the sticks. And then the gain, I have that at 79.5, and that's just going to be to where this don't go all the way over. So if I turn this up to 100, you see, or over 100, this is just going all the way down. I'll end up laying the bike down to the ground. What did I say? What about 80? 82? Is that where I had it? 81, somewhere in there? That looks about right. And all that does is it allows you to not lay the bike over. Like I said, if I push the stick all the way to the left and that was at 100% gain, the bike would just be straight on the ground laying flat. So this allows you just to kind of like push the stick all the way. I'm going to actually go to that one. I'm going to do 79.5. Yeah, that just allows you to, push the stick all the way while you're turning, and you don't have to worry about laying the bike on the ground. You can kind of just get into those turns really easy. My throttle here, I just put a dead zone of 1. That way I do find myself sometimes, with my brake especially, I'll find myself laying my finger on my brake trigger, and I'll be pushing in slightly. Not enough to really notice, but I am riding the brake a little bit. So I just kind of put a little dead zone there for the throttle as well, so I'm not just laying my finger on the throttle when I'm not trying to be on the throttle. Linearity there, left at about 87. That's almost default. I think default's 100. So it does give me a little more precision of input on the first little bit of that trigger pull there. I do have it smoothed out, so once again, it just kind of helps me. I don't have to be as smooth on my controls. I can kind of let the settings smooth it out for me there. Left the gain at 100%. You know, you want 100% of the gas. And then brakes here. There are two different brake tabs. I'm just gonna go over the combined brakes. Rear brake would be if you're just gonna run a separate brake setup. So if you have your front brakes separate from your rear brakes, that's where that would really play effect. So we have both brakes as one. We're just gonna use this dead zone. Like I said, I put a little dead zone on there. I do find myself sometimes if I'm playing, I might have my fingers resting on the trigger a little bit to where it is pushing it down. Not enough to really tell a difference, but it is on there, and you're kind of riding the brakes a little bit, and it will slow you down over time. Linearity, I left that at 100%, just default. I put it on smooth again, kind of smooth down my presses a little bit, and then my gain for my brake, I took it down to 60% or 63. That way, I don't just, if I do lock my brakes up, I'm not grabbing 100% of my brakes. I don't have to worry about me locking up the front end, locking up the back end, and just sliding out or flipping over the handlebars as much. I can kind of just lock onto my brakes, and I know I'm only going to get about 60%. That's about what I want. Yeah, I'll just run through this rear brake real quick. Like I said, unless you're going to be running a separate brake setup over here where your front and rear brake are separate, there ain't really no need for this setting here. You guys can copy some of that. I did mess around with it one day, and it was just because I was playing around, locking the back brake up, trying to slide around curves and stuff like that. The clutch here, I really don't use the clutch that much. I'll explain that here a little bit when we get to the simulation tab. There's some settings in there that kind of affect that. If you guys want to copy that, you can go for it. I think most of that's default. I don't think I changed anything there. Our right or front back lean, I did change a little bit of that here. I do have it smoothed out a little bit just for me. I can kind of be a little more smoother with my leaning. I'm not jumping straight to the front end, throwing all my weight there super quick. It's not no quick shifts of weight on the bike to where if I'm going off a jump or something and I shift all my weight forward super fast and I just make the bike front flip or something. I do have the gain turned down just a tad bit there. That way I can kind of keep it inside this box is what I was going for. Because if you do turn this up, this is like way out here, so seems like you're probably hanging off the bike really far if you have it all the way up. Yeah, that's the front back, and then we got left right lean here. We're a little different on the press and release here because I am leaning left and right a lot more than I would say I'm leaning forward or back. I'm more or less just leaning back a whole lot. More like back and to the left and right. So it did have a lot more smooth here. It helps with my turning. Put a dead zone on it. That way, in case I am bumping the stick, my dude's not just leaning every which way on the bike. I have to actually give some input for him to start leaning. But yeah, that's all the advanced settings on this side here. I'll run over to input 2 now. I got my shift up as my right bumper. My shift down is my left bumper. Starter's K, I left that as default. Push bike, I put it on my D-pad as up and down. Up is going to be push the bike forward. Down's going to push the bike backwards. Got my sit on my right stick as a push. So what that does, and it's also direct. So my right stick is my lean stick. So if I'm going around a turn, I'm turning with the left stick, leaning with my right stick to counter lean. And then if I need to set down, all I gotta do is just push in that stick and hold it pushed in. As soon as I let go of that stick and it's not pushed in anymore, my guy will stand back up and I'll be good to go out the turn. Dab, I left that as just default. There is a setting here in a second I'll show you guys that you don't have to worry about using that at all. Reset, that's just going to be if you go off the track, get stuck in a wall, stuck in a hay bale or something like that, you can hold the reset button. I have its back on my controller. Track markers, these only work in offline play, but you can hit U, you can put a little marker somewhere, and you can teleport back to it by hitting U again. Pretty cool if you're going to do something like free riding or something like that, you know, you're hitting the same jump over and over, trying to do some whips or tricks. Comes in handy there. Change view as V, that's default. Look back as X on my controller. That way when I'm racing, I can just push that, look back pretty quickly. Tear off is left on the D-pad, so push left, nips tear off. Raise arms so I can wave at people. I'll put that right on the D-pad. These others are all at default. The trick button, I do like doing some tricks in FMX a lot, so I set that as my left stick, and it's a push button, so you just push in the left stick. And how tricks work on this game, if you guys don't know, is you'll have to either pushing the trick. We'll have to always push on the trick button to do the tricks, but it'll either be a combination between leaning a certain way or turning a certain way and sitting and leaning a certain way at the same time while pushing the trick button. So it kind of helps having your trick button on a stick, since you're going to be using that stick anyways to initiate the different tricks. So they're all just on one button, and then the right stick, my other stick has my sit button, so it's pretty easy there. I can just do everything with both sticks, so both of my thumbs kind of control all the tricks. Input 3, this is going to be all your replay camera settings. And I kind of just set these up to be like a Skate 3 replay camera if you guys ever played Skates, any of the Skate games. So yeah, you guys can get like the free roam camera mode on there, or on MX bikes. And then you can actually fly around with the camera, like a little drone or something like that with these setups. So if you guys want to check those out, you can add these settings and do that. We'll go over the graphics. These are all kind of preference settings here. I do have an i5 and a 1070. So my PC is not exactly low tier, not exactly high tier. I'd say it's somewhere probably about a mid build PC. So these are the settings I run. I don't really see any issues with frames. I don't have any stutters. Only time I lag or anything would be like in online lobbies that have a lot of players, and it's just people leaving and joining the game when it has a lot of players in it. I see a little bit of lag there, but I think that's more server issues than actual game issues. So this is what I run for settings. You guys feel free to turn those up if you don't know you got them 3080s. Go ahead and turn those all the way up. Let them fans scream. Yeah, then we'll go over here to, this is mostly audio once again. This is all like preference stuff here. I did leave my units on metric. A lot of the setups and stuff people put online, they have the metric settings or the metric system on there, so it's just easier to copy setups if you have metric. Volume, I generally turn all my volumes for games down super low because I have my audio turned up really high on my PC and my headset, so I kind of adjust all that elsewhere. So these are all kind of, like I said, just preference. Put on what you guys want. Simulation, this is the last one that kind of, I'd say it really affects me a lot. I use the static first person camera, so I run 110 field of view, and it just allows me to see my front end a lot better on the bike. I can see go about the front of the seat all the way, to the tip of the front fender. Then I can see my handlebars, everything. So it helps me knowing where the bike's at a lot, and then I can also see out in front of me pretty good. The pitch is going to be like your rider's head and stuff. It's going to be pitch he holds his head at, so you can see how far in front of you are. I run that about 31. I can see my front end pretty good, like I said. That helps me a whole lot when I'm riding, that I can see that front end. I also can see out in the track in front of me a lot too, so I know, I can get ready for the turns that are coming. I can see what's coming up. Free look here. If you have a track IR or a phase camera or anything like that, you can put on the free look, or even on joystick. But I don't do that since both of my sticks are for turning and leaning. I don't know if that would work out for me. I do have a track IR, and I have a video up on that as well. I did play around with that for a little bit, and that's pretty cool. The corner anticipation, this right here will actually, as you're coming up to a corner or a turn, if you have this turned on, your guy will actually look into the apex of the corner, and you can adjust that slider, adjust the lean heading as well. Or actually, you can change if you want to look at the lean heading or look to the apex. So do that. I played around with it one day. It's a little weird getting used to at first. I definitely have to come back in here and try it again, mess with these settings a little bit. Yeah, you guys can check that out. Try it if you want to. Show rider stand. That's just going to show you standing up on the bike. Follow bike. I think this is just if you're in third person view right there. Down here, this is what I was talking about with my clutch. Well, I don't really use the clutch that much. Is shift help here. I turn that on, and shift help, what that does is if you're about to change gears, you're on the gas, you don't have to let go of the gas now to change gears. You can just change gears, still holding on the gas. It will automatically let go of the gas for you, change gears, and then get back on the gas. Just saves having to remember to let go of a button when you're trying to change gears. Automatic clutch. I just turn that on, that way I don't have to hit the clutch at all. What I do for starts, though, is I don't even use my clutch when I'm starting in races. I just leave it in neutral, and I'll hold down the gas about halfway, lean forward, and I'll kick it into first gear when the gate drops, and it seems to work out for me. I don't always have the best starts, but I kind of make up for it in that first two turns, try to catch back up real fast. And then down here, that's why I leave my rider dab or just defaults, because I turn automatic rider dab on. That really helps you if you fall and it spawns you facing the wrong way on the track. Now you got to make a 180 real quick to get turned around. You can just turn the bike all the way left or right, tap the gas a little bit, and your rider's going to put his foot down and just whip the bike around automatically. Then I leave automatic tire changes on, and that just allows it to where whenever I go moving into the pit after like a practice or qualifying or anything, I don't have to remember to change my tires. It'll automatically just put a fresh pair on for me every time. But yep, that's about it for these MX bike settings. I'll go back through these up here in case you guys missed them. You guys want to copy them down. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, found it helpful or anything useful in it, consider dropping a like and subscribe. It does help the channel grow. We are a small channel. We're trying to get up there. Every like helps. It spreads the word. I appreciate them all. Drop some comments, man. Comment down below if I missed anything or you guys like to know any more details about any of these settings. If I don't have the information, I can go try to find it for you guys. Let's see, we'll go ahead and run through these last couple real quick for y'all. Copy them down. Give them a shot. And like these settings might not work for y'all, but you know, you never know. Give it a shot. Start with these and then go in and kind of tweak it from there, you know. Like I copied someone's, I believe, starting out. And that's kind of how I got mine. Most of mine was I copied theirs. And then I used it for a little bit and I kind of went through, kind of tweaked some things more and more and went and rode some more, came back, tweaked some more things. Kind of did that for a little while, probably for about 30-40 hours actually playing this game was me just sitting here tweaking settings. I believe at one point I had combined brakes, I think like all the way up. I had my gain at like 86 here for my lean. I don't think I was using any of these smooth settings at all. And there was a couple other things that were different that I changed that I noticed that it helped me a lot. It was mostly, I believe, my gain for my turning and my brakes were the main thing that helped me. Because I was just locking my front brakes up all the time. And then I was just laying the bike on the ground because I was trying to turn too sharp. It just wasn't working out. But yeah, like I said, guys, if you guys like this video, drop a subscribe. Helps the channel grow. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Appreciate y'all for showing up. Peace out, guys.